All right, welcome back to Vegas Unwrapped. Darren Phillips, Ricky Cash, Bob Kett on the board, JPEG behind the camera. And guess what, Mr. Cash?
We have two young ladies.
Yes, it's fire drill time, but more importantly, the ladies joining us are our friends from Compassion Care Hospice. Lori, who's the executive director, and Nicole, who basically handles, the marketing and promotion and all that good stuff around town?
Correct.
I know she's doing it because I saw her at the Orleans this past Saturday at the Senior Spotlight Spectacular. Yes,
that was a good time.
Yes, except I asked for Lori and was just like, all right, Lori, pass this off to Nicole. Which was a great event, actually. It was
Lori,
down there.
pull your mic up a little closer to you.
Oh, great. Cash, have her break the microphone.
You know, if he's going to find something else to blame on me, I'm jumping out of this window.
Please don't do that when we're here.
All right. So, welcome, ladies. Nicole, first time. Lori, good to see you again.
Thank you.
So, how's life in hospice care these days?
Very good. We're actually really busy right now.
Are you?
We are.
What makes a busy time? I'm almost afraid to ask, but what makes this time busier than another part of the year?
You know, it's kind of unpredictable. Sometimes last year around this time we were slow. This year we're busy. We've had a really good year this year. Steady. We haven't really had a slow season.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's any particular month that makes it slow. It depends.
Gotcha.
Well, the increase in business has to be because of Vegas Unwrapped, right?
Of course.
Please say yes. Say yes.
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Actually,
of course.
In all seriousness, we have, obviously the commercials, of course, but we have also been spreading the word in every area that we go out to, because we have a lot of places that we're out there in the field where we meet a lot of different people. And hospice is a very, very important part of a person's life, if you will, and with all due respect, most people don't know much about it at all. So it's really nice to have you back once again, Lori, and now Nicole, so that we can keep informing the public about a program that will be so beneficial to them. Tell us a little bit more about what it is that you're doing presently.
As far as hospice care?
Yeah, right.
We're just out, we take patients that have been diagnosed with a life-limiting illness of 6 months or less by their referring physician, which is either their PCP, they're attending a hospitalist if they happen to be in the hospital and are found to be hospice appropriate. And we go and assess them, and if they're appropriate, we put them on service and get them the care that they need.
It's really good. Now, what type of people are you sending out to the homes? I mean, what are they? Nurses? Are they CNAs? Or are they therapists of some sort? Or what type of, specifically, what type of hospice care is given to those folks?
Once they're on service, they're assigned an RN case manager.
Right.
That RN is the team leader, so to
That's
speak.
exactly what I'm looking for, so go
That
ahead.
oversees, and then they have a certified nursing assistant as well as a social worker, and those three make up their team that take care of them, and then the medical director oversees the care.
Does it depend on how far along the patient is in terms of how often the hospice representatives are out there?
It just depends on the level of care.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, what they're needing from us. I mean, we can provide a CNA every day of the week if it's necessary, or we do a minimum of 3 times a week. And then the RN case manager is there once a week in the home. So we can be there daily if a family needs us.
It's such a worthwhile thing to, people should really be aware of this, because there are so many people, with all due respect, that die alone without any care.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And that's still makes my skin crawl to hear about that.
Lori, last time when you were here, we went into a lot of the particulars about the care and the benefits and all of that stuff. One thing we really didn't get too much of an opportunity to talk about was, how is hospice care paid for? Medicare, how is all that factor into the ability of a family taking advantage of hospice care when they can't afford out of pocket? What happens at that point? Walk us through that.
If they have Medicare pays 100%.
Okay.
So it's called the Medicare Hospice Benefit, where once you sign on for service for hospice, it's covered at 100%. So there's no out-of-pocket cost to the patient or family. And anybody that has a commercial insurance, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna, Aetna, Principal, any of those, they all have hospice benefits. It depends on the plan if there's any co-pays or deductibles that they have to pay. But for the most part, what we see is that there's not any out-of-pocket even on the commercial plans.
Okay, so theoretically, this is, not theoretically, obviously it's covered, so it's a service that is available. Are there any restrictions within Medicare or Medicaid that someone would not be covered 100% for?
No, as long as they're meeting medical criteria and they meet the criteria to be on hospice, it's 100% covered under
Okay.
Medicare and Medicaid.
Okay, and what are some of those requirements or those guidelines?
It comes down to your diagnosis.
Gotcha.
And the main thing is that if the diagnosis follows its normal course, that they would pass within 6 months. That doesn't mean that they have to be, that they pass, and if they don't pass within 6 months, we discharge them. It just means that they have to meet eligibility.
Now, is there any type, and I know this is coming from really left field, is there any type of fundraising, or is there any type of other ways that hospice is, your hospice gets income from?
No, it's all through insurance.
It's all through insurance. Okay. Now,
And they can, if they don't have insurance and they want to go on hospice, we do have private pay in certain circumstances, but that's a case by case.
right, and Medicare, of course, is out there, but being on Medicare and also having a Medicare supplement, or are there ones that are not accepted?
Medicare Part A covers hospice, period.
Right, period. So no matter what program you have for that, the Medicare will be covered under.
Exactly.
Great. That's so important.
I notice you're taking notes.
I am, because it's important to know about these things, to be able to talk intelligently when I get the opportunity, which is few and far between, right?
That's all right. That's all right. So now I've been to your facility. Talk about the facility. I was at your office a couple of weeks ago, and share what goes on in your office there. Obviously, patients don't come in.
Correct.
But you've got a heck of an operation there. Talk about the facility and the office. What goes on there?
Well, at the office, it's basically the administration is there. The nurses come and go. We do have medical supplies at the office, but we don't hold any pharmaceutical items or anything there. So the nurses are just coming in, collecting supplies. We do our IDG, which the whole team comes in and meets on a weekly basis,
Okay.
and goes over the patient's care with the medical director as a team, and collectively comes up with if we need to change the plan of cares. Otherwise, it's just basically administration that's in the office.
Okay. The office is located on Sahara, just west of Buffalo, kind of like just between City Athletic Center and the Terrible Herps that's right there on the corner. There's those office buildings back there. And it was a very impressive facility. I mean, when I was there with Janet, we were walking through it. I mean, that's a heck of a maze, and they keep expanding the space for crying out loud. It's like one big square, but I mean, it's pretty impressive with what you have going on there. So what's your client base like here in town? Is there a common thread of the clientele? Are you seeing some trends in the type of clients that are signing on for hospice now, or is it just pretty much all across the board?
It varies. It's
Okay.
across the board. Kind of like busy season, slow season, we see trends in diagnosis. We'll see a lot of people come on for like Alzheimer's, dementia. That will happen for a while. With the hospital, it's usually things like strokes, renal failure, those types of things where someone needs assistance at home. They can't go home by themselves, so they need to be placed, and the doctors, are calling us for those types of things. But it varies. So we see a lot of everything, to be honest with you.
Okay. Very cool.
How large has your staff grown, let's say, in the past, well, let's say in the past year? Your office type staff that helps us. Or don't tell me it's just the two of you.
No, we've pretty much almost doubled in staff in the last year.
Right. And you see this growth continuing?
I hope so.
Well, sure.
Absolutely.
We
I
do-
think that we're getting out there, and our name is getting out in the community, and it's becoming more easier for people to know our name because we're out there advertising. We're out there with the marketing team is pounding the pavement and touching the facilities and educating them on our hospice. So I think it is growing.
A question just came to mind, but I think you kind of touched on it. Nicole, when you're out there marketing, who are you going to? Is it the senior assisted living places, the hospitals? Talk about that.
Yeah, we're everywhere. Hospitals, assisted livings, nursing homes, group homes, physicians' offices, all over the place. And like Lori said, we have a great marketing team that's really out there, and we're educating people, because a lot of people, A, don't either know about hospice, or B, have so many misconceptions. They don't even realize, that they could be appropriate and all of the benefits that come along with our services.
Right.
So we're definitely out there, just educating everyone on what we can do. So all over.
So you really have to keep an eye out for things like the senior spotlight. Yeah, that's spectacular.
Senior Spotlight Spectacular.
Well, there were 3 S's. Were you guys pleased with the response that you got there last Saturday, as far as the number of people that came, the number of people that approached the table, and those type of things?
It's always a big event. I think this is our 3rd year having a booth, and yes, it's a good turnout. We do a lot of education. A lot of people will come up and ask us questions, or sometimes we'll get people that will shy away from the booth, and we have to, beg them to come over and just talk to us. And once we kind of start that conversation and explain that hospice isn't a scary thing, it can be a very good thing and helpful, then we get people to the booth. So yeah, it's a very good thing.
Well, we learned an interesting lesson in terms of having people approach our booth, and I noticed it across the board, because I kid about it all the time, that it's the one place where you can get more chocolate in one day than possible. People gravitated towards our table because we were giving out pens, and I never saw so many people grab so many pens. What did you guys have out there that attracted the people to come to your table? Because quite frankly, I missed it.
Right. Same thing. Marketing materials, pens, the good candy, things like that. We also actually, whenever we do functions like that, we give a lot of information on volunteer services. So we're always looking for people to volunteer. So we give out a lot of information on that.
But you had the best spot in the house, because your table was the first table in the small room which you had to come through.
It was.
But you were also doing something else at the table that I was talking to the nurse that was with you, was nonstop. And what was that?
Blood pressure checks.
Blood pressure test. Right. Beautiful.
I mean, she said she must have run through about 130 people before she knew what was going on.
Right.
So, I mean, that I thought was a great thing. It was the first table right there as you walked in. And, it was a good location. You had the draw there. There's no question. It's interesting about hospice, because it's an important topic, but yet I think many people are afraid to talk about it and plan for it. And I think it's important to get it out there and to increase the awareness of the importance of hospice care for those families in need. And it's not even as much as it is for the patient, as much as it is for the family in almost respite care. And I know we'll talk about that on the other side of the break. We'll go back over some of the benefits and features of hospice care, just for those who are listening for the first time. If you want more information, you can call these ladies at area code 702-636-0200. They're on LinkedIn, they're on Facebook, they're on Twitter. You can check them out and call them in. Check out their website, which is CCHLV.com. You can check out all the information that they are sharing with us this evening. You're listening to Vegas Unwrapped. VegasAllNetRadio.com. 702-483-4444 is our number. We'll be back with Lori and Nicole and more right after this.